And then we'll do some nice deep stretching when we come down onto the ground. And just level myself back up. Always helps. Ish. Right, so we're going to get ourselves loose first of all. So the feet just underneath the hips, hands drop down by the thighs, and we're just going to start with the shoulders. So just let the shoulders roll. Let them come forward, and then just gently rolling them back and down. And I've not muted everybody just yet. Keep rolling the shoulders, just want to mute the sound off. There we go. Perfect. And then when you're ready, just going to make the circles a little bit bigger. Elbows coming up and over. And then we're going to add in a little twist. So this time, as you lift the arms, elbows stop in line with your shoulders. Take a twist to your right, to your left. Drop the arms, circle, and then twist. To your right, to your left, and drop. And make the movements nice and strong. Pull the shoulders back. Feel your chest stays nice and open. And as you twist to your right, pull your right elbow back, and your left elbow. And as you're pulling one elbow back, try and hold the opposite elbow slightly back. So again, chest open. And once more. And then we're going to bring a little bit of movement now through the upper back. So hands down by your thighs. We're going to tuck the chin in and then pull the arms back. So eye gaze to the floor and then up towards the ceiling. Now again, feel the weights in the heels. Ribs stay down. And let the arms just come forward. And as the arms come forward, almost feel like your shoulder blades separate. Breathing in to roll forward and out with a lift. Give me 3 more. Relax and then open. And one last time. And resting. Bring the hands back to your thighs. Come back to the wraps and then wrap and step. So you can let the arms just wrap around your waist. Feeling that you're turning your upper body to swing the arms. So let the arms just wrap like ropes. Relax the shoulders. And let your weight shift over into the right. And start to bend the right knee a little bit more if you can. Breathing in. And let it go. 2 more. And then from here, we're going to step across and stay. So wide step. Bring the hands back to the centre. Take a reach over. And then a reach back. So your right knee just staying stacked over the heel. And just feel the movement again coming through the spine. Now you can let your hips start to come a little bit deeper. And as you're bringing your hips a little bit deeper, keep pushing back into the edge of your left foot. So that's going to help us keep the legs nice and grounded. And we're going to go with 2 more here. And then your last one, reaching back. Now this time as you reach back, try and reach the arm a little further. Breathe all the length of the side of your body. And as you breathe out, push away into your fingertips. Then so you can turn your eye gaze and look up to the ceiling. Big breath in again, into the ribs. And as you breathe out, you're going to bring the hand down towards your front knee and lift your left arm. We twist. Bringing the hand down towards the inside of your knee. And then just feeling the shoulder blade pulling back. So we're just looking to open the front of the chest and also engage the back of the shoulder. Now the rotation through the neck as well as through the spine. Looking down to the ground and then pulling back. 2 to go. And then your last one, holding the arm up, and then see if you reach a little further down towards the ankle. Now push the hips over to the left, just ever so slightly. As you feel that you're gently pushing the hips back, you probably feel more stretch either in the inner thigh or down to your hamstrings. You can keep the hand on the knee or let the hand come lower. Now lengthen your spine, push your ribcage forward, and then see if you can turn your eye gaze and look at the arm, and then push your fingertips without falling over, up towards the ceiling. And then let's come to the other side when you're ready. Hands back into the centre. Bring the feet in, so feet under the hips. Let the arms do the wrapping first. And then once you've got the wrap, you can layer in your step. So again, just a little step over to the left. Again, feel you're turning your upper body to make the arms swing. Let them go big. Let them just feel heavy. But do feel the wrapping right around your waist. Feel the weight shifting over into your left foot and then pulling back into your right. Nice move. And twice more. And then we're going to step over and stay. So stepping across. Turn the left foot slightly out. Push the knee back towards the little toe. Keep the legs still. Just start to move the arms. As you're moving the arms, again feeling the movement coming through the spine. Arm towards the ear. Ear towards the shoulder. Weight placed in that left heel. And that left knee slightly pressing back towards the little toe. That gives it even more stretch on the inner thigh. And once more each way. And then we're going to stay with the left arm reaching up and over. Feel the C shape into the spine. Breathe right up the length of your spine. And then breathe out and go for the reach. Try and straighten the arm. Keep the knee pushing forward so it's stacked over your heel. And if you can, a little turn of your eye gaze. Looking up towards the elbow. One more big breath right into the side of your ribs. And then breathing out to release. Straightening the front leg. Reaching down to the knee. Reaching the right arm back, sorry. And again, just anchoring into your heels. Relaxing your toes. And just moving your spine. Now try and keep the length in the spine. I don't want you to try and go low and have your spine bending. Lift a little higher, lift the chest. So the more you've got the spine aligned, the easier it is to bring in that rotation. Now remember, you're trying to open the front of the chest. So pull the shoulder blade back each time. And again, once more. And then hold in. So you can reach a little further down towards maybe the shin or maybe to the ankle and push your hips over to the right. Breathe in and lift the chest. Maybe turn your eye gaze, look up to the ceiling. You can always rest your hand on your shin or down towards the ankle. Push the hips away. Open the front of the chest and then turn your eye gaze up again. Reach up to the ceiling. Push your weight back into your hips. As you feel a nice stretch right down either the inner thigh or down to the hamstrings. And then when you're ready, bring the hand down, bring the shoulders back above the hips. Keep the feet wide, both feet now turn to diagonal and just reach from one knee to the other. Now turn your body as you're reaching. Feel like you're pushing your heart over the knee. And then see if when you're ready, you can reach down towards the ankle. Or maybe just lightly tapping the floor. Feel the weight shift from one side to the other. Perfect. One more each side. Feel the stretch in the hips as you sink into your hips. And again, 2 more each way. And the hips feel a little heavier. And your last one. And stay. Clasp your hands behind your back. Push your knuckles down and lift the chest up. Now once you're here, keeping the legs wide, push your chest forward. Keep the back flat. And try and lift the arms a little if you can. Push the bottom back and slightly up. Now breathe in. As you breathe out, allow your back to round. Chin tucks in and let the arms either come over the head, pushing up towards the ceiling, or coming all the way up the head and reaching towards the side wall. Breathe in, breathe out, push your hips back, release the arms and bring the hands down to the floor so your hands are under your shoulders. Walk the hands forward and then push your chest forward so you're making your back flat and long again. Now from here you're going to take your right hand across your right ankle and let your nose come over to your right knee. Looking past your right thigh and then bring the hands back into the centre and then reach to your left And then encourage your nose to your left knee. Into the centre and to your right. And just keep alternating from one side to the other. Not too quickly, just allowing the muscles to stretch down the back of your thighs and into your lower back too, especially as you encourage the nose towards the knee. Try and breathe out as you encourage the nose across the knee. Breathe into the centre and breathe out to reach across. And one last time to your left. And then both hands under the shoulders. Walk your feet in, so your feet are hip distance apart, and then bring your knees down onto the ground. From here, we're going to come into a little movement. We're going to bring our chest forward, let the ribs lift, and then you're going to push the hips back and let the chin tuck in. So lifting the ribs, eye gaze lifts, and then tucking your tailbone, hips sit back. Breathing in, and then breathing out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now this time when you push back, lift your knees. And then bring the knees forward and push your chest forward. So you can allow the knees to lift and push your hips a little further back. And then you're going to start to allow your legs to straighten. So you lift the knees, push back into the heels, and then bring your chest forward. So pushing, bring the knees down, chest lifts, hips push up. And each time you push your hips back, feel the stretch right down into the back of your legs. 2 more. Options, stay with that first move, and your last one. Stay with the knees under the hips. Take your right arm, thread it underneath the left, and then start to pull that right shoulder back again. Now keep the weight even in the knees, just let that rotation come through the spine. Now start to let your head drop down to the floor. So you're encouraging more rotation through the spine. Your weight staying even in both knees. And just threading the arm through a little further each time. 2. Change sides. Hand down, and then your left arm. Just start with that small rotation, keeping the neck and spine aligned. And then as you want to go bigger, let your shoulder come down to the ground. It's like you're sliding the back of the hand along the floor. And as you come into the centre, pull the shoulder blade back. The eye gaze, follow the hand, especially when it pulls back. And one more time. And then staying here. Sit back onto the heels. Take the knees, before you do, a little bit wider, then sit back onto your heels. You might notice you get your hips a little further back with the knees wide. Press the hips back to the heels and walk your hands forward. Take your right arm again underneath your left and try and look under your left arm. You're going to thread your left arm through and roll your right shoulder back. As you roll your right shoulder back, that's where we're going to find more rotation in the spine and keeping the hips anchored to the heels. And then see if you can thread the arm a little further, letting the back of the hand rest on the ground. And then try it on the other side. So bring your right arm forward, left arm forward, right and the left. Thread the arm through. Roll your left shoulder back. And then try and thread that right arm a little further if you can. And gently press the hips back again towards the heels. You might find the hips ease off to the side. Try to keep the weight evenly placed back into the hips. It's a nice stretch of the spine. Then we're going to come to our legs next. So we're going to bring ourselves forward and then into a seated position. So extending both legs out in front. Ready for a bit of a swim, I think. Do a swim to cool down. Right, we're going to start with both arms. Hands just by the hips, toes pointing to the ceiling. If there's a little bend in your knees, that's fine. But in time, you're trying to encourage the back of your knees down on the floor. Breathe in, lift both arms, take a little reach forward, and then draw the hands back. Now, as you reach forward, allow the back to round, and roll back up through the spine. Now feel that roll comes through the neck, so you bring your chin into your chest, and your eye goes forward. Then feel the breath, breathing in, breathe out to pull back. And as you pull back with your belly button too, right back through towards the spine. And then we're going to go for a different kind of swim. Reach the arms forward, hold the hands forward, and pull one arm back and then the other. Now we're going to turn with the chest, so you're reaching from one side to the other. Turn it with the head. Breathing out each time you reach forwards. Trying to push the fingers past your toes. Feel the rotation of the upper back. So we're trying to turn the chest and look from one side all the way around to the other. Maybe gently encouraging the back of the knees down towards the ground to get more stretch in our hamstrings. The next time your right hand reaches forward, grab a hold of your right foot and bring your right foot back. We're just going to let the foot tap from side to side. So just easing into the hips. Take the foot a little bit wider. Whenever you feel ready, just really giving it a tug over that left hand side. And again, for 4, 3, 2, rest the foot on the left hand side. Push your right buttock down. Now wrap your right arm, left arm around your knee, pull the knee into the shoulder, but then pull the head up to the ceiling so you've got the height in the spine. Use the height, turn the head, look over your left, right shoulder. Left and right has gone right out the window today. We are looking over our right shoulder, and we're also trying to pull our right shoulder back, as well as making ourselves as tall as possible. Now push your right buttock down to the ground so it helps to level the pelvis. Then if you want to go deeper, you straighten your left arm, rest against the back of the knee, and use the arm as a lever to turn a little bit further. Again, trying to maintain the height all the way up the length of the spine. The rotation then coming into the neck as you turn your head. And you keep gently pressing your left arm against your right knee or thigh. And then we ease back into the centre. With your foot, you're just going to hold the foot here. We're going to rock the knee across and then pull back with your hip. So you're rocking your knee to the floor and then pulling back with the hip. So it's just getting to the hips in a slightly different direction. I don't know why I always end up moving so far forward every time. Let your weight come across and then pull that left hip back. Ease the knee down, pull the left hip back. And again, once more. And then stay. Take your right leg out now, and then take your left leg wide. Hands behind the hips, push the hands into the floor, and lift your chest up nice and high. So you don't want to feel like your ribs have squashed down towards the hips. Now once you're here, your right arm reaches forward, toes point to the ceiling, just glide forward and lift. Don't have to lift too high. Again, over time you're trying to encourage the back of the knees down to the floor. You might feel that little bend in your knees is enough for now. Or again, when you feel ready, press the knees down. Now your thumb points to the ceiling. And your eye gaze lift with your thumb. So look up towards the thumb. Breathe out as you ease forwards. And again, out breath through your mouth. In breath as you ease back. And a couple more. And then there's one more, and you're going to hold. Bring the hand down, bring your left hand around, hands into the floor, and just try and push your chest forward and lift it up a little bit higher. And let it drop a little. Lift the chest. And notice that when you start to bring more length through your spine by lifting your chest, it helps bring more stretch into the hamstrings. Now, once you've lifted your chest here, you might want to just stay or walk the hands a little further forward and maybe ease the elbows to the ground. You might find your feet have gone in all sorts of positions. So try and roll the feet back so the toes are up to the ceiling. And again, you can stay here And have that feeling again. You're trying to make your spine a little bit longer just by gently rocking your chest forwards. Breathing out each time you push your chest forward. And again, a couple more. And your last one. And hold. Walk the hands back. Bring the legs back into the centre. And let's swim again. Big lift of the arms, throw the arms forward. And you might notice this time the hands go a little bit further. Breathe in and let it go. Pull the belly back. That helps just restack the spine. And here, pull up through the crown of the head. So you lengthen your spine to your shoulders, come back above your hips. Roll the arms forward. Breathe in. Let it go. Let it go. And your last one. Arms stay forward. Right arm pulls back, and then your left. So again, back into the swimming arms, pushing your fingers towards, or maybe they're going past their toes this time. But feel again the rotation of the chest, that's the important part as well. Get the upper back rotating. And it's always good to do rotation when you're seated because the hips have to stay still. You're trying to turn your heart so your heart looks from one side of the room right around to the other. And the out breath every time you push forwards, because the out breaths allow the muscles to stretch more, or should I say relax more so they stretch more. And once more each side, take a hold of your left foot and this time pull it back. Start to move back into the hip. It's a warm one today, which we need in a cold winter morning. So you can take the leg a little further across. So again, as you're taking the leg further across, it's getting to the outside of the hip. Again, if you need to, just keep it small, or if you can, make it nice and big. There's lots of movement, lots of mobility into the hips. This time, land your foot. It gets to rest. Pull through the top of the head. And your right arm wraps around the knee, and you're going to look to your left and pull your left shoulder back. Left hand just behind the hip. Push the hand into the floor and pull your head up to the ceiling. Then so you can have a little glance back over that left shoulder. Keep hugging the knee in towards your chest. And also keep pulling right up through the crown of your head. You might notice your hips have rocked as you've pulled the knee in. So your left sit bone, try and press it back into the ground. That's going to help to level your pelvis, and it brings a much better stretch then into the muscles that are attached to your pelvis. One more breath, all the way up the length of the spine. Breathe out and revolve. And then if you want to go a little bit further, you take your right arm out straight, use the back of the elbow, so the back of the elbow is almost pushing against your thigh, and use that as a lever to encourage more rotation. But again, as you're rotating, you're searching for the height of the spine as well. So pulling up rather than leaning back. Breathing in to grow tall, breathing out to revolve. In through the nose, out through your mouth. Have a little glance back over the shoulder. And then releasing your leg. Taking the legs out wide. One, then the other. Roll the knees, toes up to the ceiling, hands behind the bottom, and lift your chest. So just the left arm this time. Keep your right hand pinned to the floor. Just glide that left arm forward and back. Start with a small movement, and then making the movement bigger. Breathing out as you edge into that stretch. And now gaze come up with the hand. Try and encourage the back of the knees down to the floor if you can. And once more, holding. Bring the hands down. One hand, and then the other hand comes around. So straight arms, a lift of your chest. Let the ribs drop, and then push your chest forward. And again, you should feel that when you just simply push the chest forward, you get a much deeper stretch into your hamstrings. So hopefully you can also see then how having tight hamstrings can affect your posture. Because when they're tight, we end up rounding the back, because sometimes when we try and lengthen the spine, it pulls on tighter muscles in different places. So again, quite a good exercise to do to encourage good posture and make sure the hamstrings stretch and allow that posture. Couple more. And then stay in. Walk the hands a little further forward, stay here, or maybe bring it down onto the elbows. Square the shoulders. Now you might stay here and just find you're enjoying that stretch and just find your breath and encourage the stretch. Or the movement, just gently pushing your heart forward and letting it come back. Again, just a little push forward and let it release. Breathing out as you push your heart forward and a breath in to relax. And 3, 2, and 1. And holding. Walking the hands back in now. Bend your left leg, bring your left foot to your inner thigh and reach towards your ankle. Right arm, left arm, sorry, reached up to the ceiling, it was going too well. And just take a little side bend. So just letting that left arm ease over. You can bend your right elbow to allow you to go a little bit further. You can also just slide the right hand towards the inside of the ankle. Breathing out each time you go into that side bend. Breath into the centre. And as you reach. As you're reaching over to the right, keep pushing down to the left buttock. So again, hips nice and anchored. One more time. Stay here and just pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7. Palm down to the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Change legs. So left leg comes out, right leg tucks in. Come forward again. Reach. Right arm lifts. Reach up. And again, as you bend, you might just want to bend your left elbow. So just letting your elbow come down to the thigh. Or again, you can start to reach towards the ankle and slide the left hand towards the ankle each time you reach. Breathing out with the reach. Breath into the centre. Out with the reach. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. And 2 more. Last one, you get to stay and pulse. So again, just gently pushing the fingertips away over toward the toes. And again, halfway. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Keep your left foot, right foot where it is. It's all gone wrong now. Bring your left foot in. So your feet, ankles are crossed. Hands by the hips. Spine up nice and tall. And then alternating this time from side to side. Out breath every time you reach across. And again, the more you keep the hips still and the pelvis anchored, the more movement we're going to keep in the back. Couple more each way. And then some circles. So bring the left hand down. Now circle it forward and then roll it back. And when you roll it back, turn your palm to the front and pull back with your elbow and your shoulder. So we're really starting to open the front of your left shoulder. When you rise, push off your right hand. Push the right hand down into the floor. And then see if you can make those circles just a little bit bigger. Pushing, 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 and then pulling back. And 1 more circle. Into the centre, rest, and then back to the bends from side to side. One side then the other. Again, noticing the hips are anchored. Breathe out as you go into the side bend. If you're anything like me, you'll notice you go a lot further on one side compared to the other. And then resting. So the right hand this time, circle, push forward and roll it back. Reaching, reaching, reaching and rolling. Now turn the palm open the front of the chest. Really feel that when you pull your arm back, you're also pulling your shoulder blade and your elbow back. And pulling the elbow down towards the back of the ribs. And one more time. And then you get to have another little rest. Right hand comes across to your left thigh. Press that left hand, right hand, sorry, against the left thigh. Pull your right shoulder back. Pull back and release. Pull back and release. So you're going to turn, look over the shoulder, and then look to the front. And each time you turn, push the back of your right hand into your thigh. So again, you're using that right arm to help encourage that rotation. A little bit more height, pull the head up to the ceiling. 2 more turns. And change. So opposite arm across, gently pressing and releasing. Pressing and releasing. And again, using the back of the hand to encourage a little bit more rotation. But the hand that's on the floor behind your bottom, you can also push that into the floor, so it's helping to keep that length all the way up through the spine. And 2 more again. And now we're going to come into the hips. So we're going to roll onto our backs. So I'm going to just change direction slightly so it makes it a little bit easier for you to see. We're going to place the feet hip distance apart, rest the head and the shoulders, which is always nice. Take the arms wide, turn your palms up to the ceiling and just let your shoulders relax into the floor. The feet come a little bit wider now than the hips. And you're going to roll the knees from one side to the other. Now as you're rolling the knees, you're trying to get the ribs and the shoulders anchored to the floor. So just find that a little bit more mobility around the hips. It's like you're trying to press your right knee down to your left heel and then your left knee down towards your right heel. Try not to let the back lift off the floor, so you're keeping the back still and just keep the movement around your hips. And once more. And then resting in the centre. Bringing your feet back into the centre. Right knee above the hip. You can let the left knee drop out a little and then just start to circle your right knee around your hip socket. So pushing the knee away and then pulling the knee in. A couple more in this direction. Trying to keep the left knee fairly still so it keeps the pelvis still. And then reverse. Circle the knee around the opposite side. Opposite direction even. That's the nicer part. And then resting in the centre, so your knee stays above your hip. Bring your left knee in and then place your right foot on your left thigh. Just gently rock the left knee forward. So you can just simply push the knee away and allow it to release. Now as you're pushing the right knee away, still trying to keep the left hip and buttock pressed onto the ground. Couple more. And then rest. Take the arms wide. Lift your left knee. And then lower the foot towards the ground. So it's a little bit of a core exercise now. You're pulling your left knee in. As you breathe out, breath in as you release. And each time you pull the left knee back, you're probably feeling more stretch in that right hip. Breathing out through the mouth each time you lift the knee and a breath in as you ease down. As you lower the foot, try and keep the ribs and the back placed on the ground. 2 more. And then hold in the centre. You're going to roll to the left, so your right foot comes down onto the floor. Again, if your shoulder lifts and the ribs lift, that's fine. Bring the foot down first and then try and ease your shoulder back. Then maybe the back of the ribs, hand onto your knee and gently rock the knee away. And this just gets into a slightly different part of the hips. Each time you breathe out, encourage the knee away, but don't force it. Again, you're just searching for that mild stretch around the hip each time. And again. And your last one, and hold. Try and ease the shoulder, the back of the ribs down more. And you'll feel that as you pull the ribs and the shoulder back, and keep pushing the knee away, it's going to help to stretch the outer hip and the thigh more. And then when you're ready, your bottom leg lifts, so your thighs come together. Both knees come in above the hips. Keep the legs crossed, and you're going to roll your knees over to the right, and then back into the centre. Over to the right again. Breathing in as they lower, and breathing out with your left. 6 more to the right hand side. Try and keep the ribs placed and the shoulders anchored. And then maybe going a little bit further if you can. Your in breath as you lower the knees. Out breath to pull back. And your last 2. And 1. A little bit of a challenge is that one. Place the feet down. Feet back to hip distance. Left knee lifts. Right knee just drops out a little to about 5 past the hour. And just circle your left knee. So again, it's like you're drawing a circle around your hip socket with the knee. Going in one direction. Trying to keep the pelvis still. And then moving in the opposite direction. Circles are a lot more circular on my other side, that's for sure. And again, all the way around the hip. And then resting in the middle. Bring the right knee back in. Left foot rests on your right knee. And then from there, hand onto your left knee. Encourage the knee forward. And as you're encouraging the knee away, you're also trying to keep the hips anchored to the ground. And then we're getting much better stretch through the muscles that attach to the pelvis. Now you can stay there, or you can bring it back into a little bit of core work, taking a breath in, arms come wide, breathing out as you lift the right knee, and breath in to ease down. You're not going all the way back to the floor, but as you lower your foot, you're trying to keep the lower back down towards the ground. So you're not letting the back arch as you lower your foot. Each time when you pull the knee in, hopefully feeling a deeper stretch of that left hip. And a couple more. And then holding in the centre. We roll to the right. So your left foot comes down, your left shoulder can lift, just get to the point where your foot's resting, and then start to encourage the shoulder and the back of the ribs down. And onto the knee, and you can slightly encourage the knee away. Not forcing it again, it's just a gentle rock backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Breathing out each time you rock that knee away. And again, each time just feeling that mild stretch, nice and deep into the hips. These are some of those tiny deep muscles that get a little bit neglected sometimes. But not in this move. One more time. And hold. Bottom knee lifts, so your thighs come together. Taking a breath in. The out breath, you pull your knees back into the centre. Squeeze your thighs together. And then roll them over to the left. And then bring the knees back into the middle. Now when your knees roll over to the left, you're trying to keep the rib cage and the shoulders grounded. So that way you can feel a lot more stretch around the waist, around the hips. Breathing in as you ease down, and then breathing out to come back into the middle. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Slow breath in, strong breath out. Last 2 here. And we can untie the legs and try and get back up on our feet. So bring your feet down to the floor, unravel your legs, and then roll over into box position when you're ready. So bring the hands in under the shoulders, and knees back in underneath the hips. Take a nice big cat stretch. And then come back into a neutral spine and tuck under with your toes. Lift the knees, push the hips back to the heels, and then try and push the hips back up to the ceiling. Trying to straighten the legs as much as you can, encouraging the heels to the ground, your ears between your shoulders, and then pushing the bottom slightly up if you can. And then in your own time, you just get to lift the heels bend the knees and step your feet forward. Hang in for a few seconds, just allowing the back to release. Bring the chin in so it allows the neck to release as well. Let your head become heavier. And let your chest sink towards your thighs. And then when you're ready, bend your knees a lot and restack your spine. Rising with perfect posture. As you rise, just feel the restacking of each vertebrae until your head lifts, your shoulders roll back, your palms turn to the ceiling, press your palms up to the ceiling. Nice full body stretch, and let your ribs actually finally lift away from your hips. And almost push your bottom back. So you can get your hip bones to point to the floor, so get a nice stretch into the tummy muscles too. And then tuck your tailbone under and bring your hands back to your thighs. Shrug the shoulders, lift them up and let them go. And again. And release. That was a thoroughly good stretch, ladies and gents. Well worked.